There are some
my name is
people.
Hobbs, and welcome to EDC 534 seminar on digital authorship. It's a spring semester, and here we are at the Harrington School of Communication and Media at the University of Rhode Island with some amazing graduate students ready for the launch of this class. I've been thinking about this class for about a year now, so it feels like phew, the day has finally arrived, and I'm really glad to get started. There are three things I want to accomplish in this session today. I want to provide an overview, a kind of conceptual overview to the class, and help you understand a little bit about what kinds of activities and learning we're going to be doing in this fully online graduate level class. I want to take some time to introduce ourselves to each other because we have the opportunity not to meet everyone in the class, but to meet many people in the class, some of the people in the class. And I also want to introduce myself to you so you understand a little bit more about what I'm working on, what matters to me, why I'm interested in this topic. And then the third thing we'll do is we'll really kind of talk about, we're going to really talk about how the nuts and bolts of like what you're going to be doing this week to get ready for class next week. So those are the three things that that I want to talk about. Let me start first by talking a little bit about the instructional design of the course, so you understand what the broad conceptual pillars of this class are, and then we'll introduce ourselves to each other and talk a little bit about why we're taking this class. This class is built on a unique design model that's part of a community of scholars and practitioners that is kind of fighting back against the learning management system. Of course, like many faculty members, I used a learning management system for many years. Blackboard, Canvas, Sakai. Learning management systems are terrifically useful tools for teaching and learning in face-to-face settings and in online settings. But over the years, I've gotten increasingly disenchanted with the learning management system, finding that it's a little bit of a walled garden, and discovering that the skills that students learn in managing a learning management system don't necessarily transfer to the competencies and skills that they may use outside the classroom. And like my old professor, David Perkins at Harvard Ed School used to say, you have to teach to transfer. If you want skills to transfer from the classroom to the community, you have to teach for that. And so the principle of the open network learning environment is that we use freely available and open source tools for all aspects of the teaching and learning process. Nothing is behind the walled garden. Everything is in the open. And so this course is really built on the idea that we'll be learning out loud. And we'll discover some strengths and weaknesses to this method, but it's a pretty, I think, a pretty exciting opportunity for all of us. So that design principle really animates the reason why we're on Google Hangouts tonight, the reason why we're using Twitter, the reason why we're using WordPress, the reason why we're using all kinds of free open source tools. It's really, we're really aiming to transfer the skills and competencies we learn in this setting immediately to our workplace or professional environment. Okay, so that gives you an introduction to a little bit why we're here. I see some new people have joined us. Let's go around the room and introduce ourselves to each other with a little bit of name, rank, and serial number, because we might not know who you are, and at least one reason why you're taking this class. Hi, Susan. I see you there. You get the honor of being first. Can you introduce yourself to us and tell us why you're taking this class?
Sure. My name is Susan Unger, and I actually see quite a few familiar faces, which is great. I'm taking this class because I took the other 3 classes in the series for the digital media certificate, And each time I took a class, the learning curve was so huge that it was actually a little bit painful. So I anticipate more of the same, which is great because I need to keep up, and I don't even say stay ahead of my middle school students because they have a lot more time and energy for digital media than I usually do. But these classes are a huge boost for me, and so I really appreciate the learning experience in every way. And so hi to everybody, and it's going to be great.
We're glad you're here, Susan. Lorem, welcome to the class. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're taking this class.
Well, nope, that's not me. Oh, okay. Well, I'm a middle school computers teacher, and I just recently got the job, and there's no curriculum. So I'm hoping to gain some more insight on what I should teach. My background is English, so I have kind of an idea about literacy, but digital literacy, I'm trying to figure out how to kind of translate that over to the computers. And I teach middle school, like I said, so it's, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and we're on a decent level of communication with kind of what I want them to know and what they want to know, but I'm kind of struggling with how to get that to translate. And also, I needed another education class, so this works.
Woohoo! Well, we're glad you signed up for the adventure. Thanks so much. Thanks for introducing yourself. Kara, you're next up. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody in the room and tell us a little bit about why you're taking this class.
I'm Kara, and I'm a media literacy teacher at Thurston High School in South Redford, and I see lots of familiar faces too. I'm also getting the hi Jillian. I'm also getting the digital literacy certificate, and so this is my last course in that certificate program. Like Susan, the classes have had their share of pain, but also by the time all of the classes have ended, especially the class last semester, I feel like I was going through withdrawals because I wanted to be in class still, so I'm so glad to be back in. I don't know, a glutton for punishment, I guess. So I'm really excited about the program. I've learned a ton. It's been great meeting people who are like-minded, either in education or either teaching in education or working somehow in education. So this is a really big boost for me as well.
We're glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Jillian. Welcome to the class. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're taking this class.
Hi, Renee and company. Oh, this Jillian. Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah. You go.
No, you go.
We have two Jillians in the class, Jillian Buckler and Jillian Belanger. Jillian Belanger, you go first.
Okay, sorry, I didn't see. I'm doing this on my phone because I can't get it. Whatever. I'm Jillian, and I have been a teacher for the past 10 years, and yesterday was my first day in a new job at the Rhode Island Department of Education as coordinator of ELL education programs.
Oh,
and
congrats.
so
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm taking this class also, like Susan and Kara, because it's the 4th in this graduate certificate in digital literacy. Also because I love Renee Hobbs, so I would take any class that she taught. And because I think that the Rhode Island Department of Ed has a really long way to go when it comes to digital literacy. So hopefully it'll be an inside job now that I'm there.
Awesome. Nice. I like that. Good attitude. That sounds like a leadership attitude. All right. Now the other Jillian. Jillian Buckler, welcome to the class. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I see so many familiar faces. I took the class with Julie last semester after the Summer Institute, and it was a really, really great experience. I work in a one-to-one district where the kids were given Chromebooks with basically no training, so I'm kind of making it my personal mission to really work with my students as well as with my colleagues to inform about what it means to be digitally literate and to put it all into action. So that's that. And I needed credits, so.
Well, we're glad you're here. Hi, Corey. Welcome to the class. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're taking this class.
Hi, everybody. My name is Corey. So I'm coming to you from Philadelphia. I'm a digital content strategist at the University of Pennsylvania. And I also do some small media work on the side on my own. But I took a class with Renee in undergrad back at Temple University, and that kind of kicked off a love for open access, open data, media literacy, that whole idea. So luckily, I'm in a position where my job encourages me to kind of build on those skill sets. And so here I am taking the class with everybody. It's my first one, and I'm really excited to be here.
We're really glad you're here, and you're an official media maker, although working in kind of a public health context. So that is going to actually broaden our understanding both of education, public outreach, and of media making. So welcome to the class. Kathy, you're up next. Can you introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit about why you're taking this class?
Okay. So my background is slightly different than all of yours. I'm a graduate student in the Marine Affairs Department at URI. So I studied marine and coastal policy. But my thesis is all about environmental education. And I've been doing environmental education now for 4 years, 5 years actually. And my I think I could use in the future because I plan on doing environmental education pretty much for the rest of my life. So that's pretty much where I'm at.
Wow, we have a marine ecologist and environmental science professional on our team. That should make for a lot of great conversation. Now I'm hearing a little bit of echo. Are you guys hearing that echo?
Yes.
So let's practice muting our microphone to see what's going on there. So when you're not speaking, do me a favor, go move your mouse up to the top, the microphone will pop up, and you'll click it on, and that should solve our problem. Okay, so next up is Kayla. Kayla, welcome to our class. Can you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're taking the class?
Yes, I'm sorry for coming back and forth. My computer shut me out randomly. So I'm Kayla, and I am a second-year master's student in the reading program with Julie and Terry, and I am also getting the digital literacy certificate. Last summer I was in Tier 1 at the Summer Institute, and I took Julie's class also. So I'm in here now, and I'm looking forward to this Summer Institute when I'm in Tier 2.
Woohoo, we're glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. And Amanda, I see you there. You are very welcome in this class, and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're taking this class.
Hi everybody. I see some familiar faces again, and it's really great to be able to take another course, especially online. This is now my second. I took Julie's course last semester, and it was a very eye-opening experience for me to do some work online. So I'm excited to do this because I know it's a lot more interactive visually and online with different types of medias. So I'm a social studies teacher. I've been a teacher for the last 12 years, and I took the Summer Institute this past summer, and it was the best week that I spent, and then I wanted to just continue on. I've become increasingly frustrated with my district and talking about getting kids to use technology but not making it purposeful in any way. So I think that this is going to be a really good opportunity to infuse that into my teaching and with my colleagues.
Got it. So we have a room full of change agents. You guys got that, right? You can feel it, right? You feel that sense that this is a room full of change agents. People are trying to figure out where they can, how we can advance our own knowledge and skills to be more effective as educators, as communicators, and as media professionals. So what I'd like to do now is take you to the website, take a minute to get like a little bit more of a big picture perspective on what the content of what we'll be learning and how we'll be learning. And then we'll dig right into what we're going to work on for next week. So at this point, if you have the opportunity to open up a new window, you should. I'm going to use screen sharing right now to share my screen. Can you see my screen, which has our class website? Give me a thumbs up sign with your thumb up if you can see it. Thumbs up? Everybody can see that. Cool. So you might, if you have a second window open, you might click along with me. First thing probably to notice is up here at the top are the navigation mechanisms. Tell us a little bit about the class, including contact information. Of course, some of you who've already had me know that you can really reach me most immediately by accessing me on Twitter. A little bit about that educational philosophy of the course. A little bit about the phenomenon that this kind of learning really depends on you taking responsibility for your own learning, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities for you to customize and make this class into the learning experience it needs to be. And then a little bit about the format of the course. This meeting, this synchronous meeting in Google Hangout, is optional. We think it's desirable that you participate, and it should be lots of fun, but if you can't, you are expected to watch it on YouTube, and you'll see some activities that we do each week in addition to the assignment materials. And just a note about technology competency, we are all on our own learning curves, and so peer-to-peer learning is going to be important to us, and we try to be non-hierarchical. Each of you is going to learn from somebody else, and you'll have something to teach someone. So we're going to try to take as many risks as we can with ourselves as learners, getting out of our comfort zone and trying new things. So you can see that if I click on the creative world over here, that always takes me back to the home page. Many of you have already completed the poll, which has a little bit of information that will help me to customize this course directly for you. Many of you have already done that. Some of you have completed the Getting Started activities. One of the most important things that you need to do is, if you don't already have a Twitter account, you need to get one, and you need to send me a tweet that includes my name. And oh, look at that. It still has the wrong hashtag. Damn it. How does this keep happening? So let me just fix that right now on the fly. I'm going behind the scenes here. And I just keep having my dyslexic moment. I don't exactly know why, but I just keep having a dyslexic moment and putting the wrong course number. It must be like a mental block. Okay, so there we go. So back to the ranch. I think that's fixed now. Yeah, there we go. Send me a tweet right there. What I'd like you to do is create some kind of blog that you're going to be using for your course assignments. Some of you sent me your professional blog or your school blog, and that's okay if you can post your assignments there. If not, you probably want a dedicated blog for your course assignments. Let me just do a little check with the thumbs up here. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you are a Twitter user? Twitter users, thumbs up. Okay, yeah, so we got some Twitter users. We got some Twitter non-users. That's cool. Twitter for Beginners, the very best resource there is, by my friend Julie Smith.
My name's Julie.
From St. Louis, a really nice 6 or 7 minute video that's just terrific. And for those of you who haven't yet got a blog to use for this class, a simple tutorial should be all you need. It's pretty simple. So each week, a block like this will open for the themes of the course. And before we dig into the themes of the course, it's probably worth taking a look at the learning outcomes. And let me just see if I can make this a little bit larger. We're really going to focus on the creative process at work when we engage in media production practices that activate creativity, collaboration, allow us to address issues of authority and representation, and consider the dynamics of power and social action. By definition, we're going to be thinking a lot about instructional strategies that get used in K-12 education, in higher education, and in informal learning and lifelong learning, to think about how digital and media literacy competencies develop across the lifespan. But for sure, you're going to develop your own digital media production and technical competencies. You're going to deepen your own collaborative organizational problem solving and leadership skills. And you'll definitely understand the relationship between scholarship and praxis in building an interdisciplinary knowledge community. That's what's most exciting about this work right now, is that people from all different fields are coming into the digital literacy arena to try to figure out what it means in various contexts. So the learning outcomes, I think, give you a sense of the choices I've made about how to balance out the assignments and the activities. It's probably worth looking at the course syllabus. Now this keeps changing. I tiny little tweaky things, but the one that's posted here is the most recent version. So if you have an older version, I might have sent that to you a few days ago, you just throw that one away. This one's absolutely current. I want to talk a little bit about the recommended books that I hope that you go to Google and order them right away. So let me give you a little preview. The reason why they're recommended is that we're not really reading all of any of these books except the Copyright Clarity book. We're reading parts of the book. But the reason why I put them on the recommended list is that, one, I can't share a PDF file with you, so I can't provide you access any other way except through purchasing the book. And two, because these books are awesome. These are books you want on your shelf. Let's start at the top with the best media literacy book ever written, Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. Raise your hand, raise your thumbs up if you've already read this book, because it's so classic. Everybody knows this book. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So Cassie, tell me a little bit about how did you encounter this book? Where'd you first learn about it, and what do you remember about it?
Me?
Yeah.
I have not read it.
Oh, sorry. So has anybody read this book? Oh, no. Okay, sorry, I misunderstood. All right, so Scott McCloud is a comics genius. In 1993, he wrote this book. It's been reprinted 1 billion times. It's a comic book about comics. But it's not really about comics. It's really about how words and pictures create meaning. I want you to race to the bookstore or go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble and get it immediately, because we're reading 2 chapters for next week. And what's cool about Scott McCloud is that it's theoretically, woo, and yet it's so fun to read and reread and reread. And I've been reading it for like 25 years and I still learn something every time. Understanding Comics, Scott McCloud, wow, what a great place to start. As an author of comics himself, he brings a really great perspective as a critical reader and as a creator. Next up on the recommended list, the almost classic Media Education, Literacy, Learning, and Contemporary Culture by David Buckingham. the distinguished British scholar. This is a really great overview text of where the digital and media literacy people were circa when it was written in 2003, so 10 years old now. But the structure and the theory, mwah, and especially his articulation of the challenges of getting children to become authors and makers and creators and video producers and website creators and multimedia producers. Really cool book, great read, and definitely a kind of cornerstone of our class. Because we're talking about making, we've got to talk about the legal and ethical issues that are involved in using other people's copyrighted works. So we're going to read my book, Copyrighted Clarity. The subtitle is How Fair Use Supports Digital Learning. And this is a slender, easy read. I was really fortunate to be able to write this book after receiving support from the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, which gave me a bunch of money and resources to go find out what teachers and librarians and citizens, what they were confused about when it came to copyright in relation to digital learning, and then help sweep away, clear up some of that misunderstanding. And finally, a book I am positively in love in. I read it over Christmas time, and I got so excited. I was like, we have to read this book. We have to read this book. We're not going to read the whole book, but we're going to read 2 chapters from this book. It's called Kids on YouTube by Patricia Lang. And this is a really groundbreaking work. The subtitle of this book is Technical Identities and Digital Literacies. And what she does is some very good ethnographic work of children and adolescents who are creating in the YouTube space. And she writes about the full range of technical challenges, ethical dilemmas, literacy competencies, in a very, very smart and interesting way. And the work really breaks some new grounds on the topic of representational ideologies, which is really this idea that when you make media, you have multiple competing responsibilities to you have different loyalties to different people. So I think the book is first rate and really adds a lot of insight on kids as media makers. Okay, so those books are kind of framing up the course. If you look at the syllabus, you can kind of see we move through a series of questions, right? And let me just go back to my syllabus again here. I want to talk a little bit about the assignments. The course is organized on a 1,000-point scale. There's 100 points for class participation. There's 400 points for 4 small projects, LEAP projects. These are small, hands-on production activities that we do as a way to demonstrate our understanding of what we're reading, practice some new skills, and sort of connect theory to practice. Twice during the semester, you're going to write a reflective essay where you synthesize what you're learning and try to make connections between ideas. Those are essentially blog posts. The first one is due March 3rd, and the second one is due April 14th. And the really most important work that you're going to be doing for this course, the final paper or project, can take one of 2 forms. It can take the form of a research paper where you acquire some expertise in a topic, right, and represent your expertise in an article designed for a scholarly audience. Or you can engage in developing a creative project where you submit a creative project, and it can take any of a number of forms. So every one of you will complete a Video Ignite presentation, which is known as a pachakacha. And you'll basically create a 5-minute pachakacha that summarizes your work. So in the first months of the class, you'll be thinking about how do you want to advance your expertise. On March 24th, you'll send me an email about what you think your project's going to be about. On April 21st, you'll send me a Video Ignite presentation. That becomes kind of a preview of coming attractions, and the paper is due on May 5th. I'm not going to go over much else in the syllabus because I think it's self-explanatory, but at this point, I think it's probably wise to stop and see if anybody has any questions. What questions do you have about your participation in this course? Who wants to go first? Any questions?
I forgot to unmute. I have a question.
Thank you.
So LEAP this is the second time I've heard of LEAP. We used it last semester, and I never asked what it meant. What does LEAP mean?
It's one of those goofy words that you make up when you're in the middle of the night wondering what the hell you should call it.
Okay, so you and Julie both. What the hell you should call it?
I think Julie stole it from me, but maybe I stole it from Julie. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Great question.
Here I thought it was going to have some major educational, I don't know, something behind it.
Who else has a question?
Renee, I have a question about the blog. I sent you the blog Wikispace that I'm doing, actually Wikispace kind of blog that I'm doing for my class. But so would you like us to just go in WordPress and start a blog?
You can choose whatever is best for you, Susan. I'm going to take you back to the. I'm going to take you back to the class and show you. I've started. If you sent me a blog, I think I've posted it right over here where it says class roster. Kara. You sent me, oh, it's a shark. Kara's Crazy Classroom. Kayla, you've sent me your blog. This looks like a continuation from your class. Jillian, I think I received a blog, but maybe I typed it in wrong, so I'm going to go check there. That might be my fault. Alex, oops, I don't know why that's not working either. Jillian. Oh, Jillian. Okay, got it. So you're free to do it however you want.
Okay.
Susan, I think I put you down for this one. This is the one you're using. But you see what I get? I get a you do not have permission to access. So you got to grant me or other students access so I can see it.
Renee, I just sent you a Twitter with the blog that I used last semester, so it takes you away from my personal blog.
Woohoo!
Okay.
Great. So that's one thing that you should put on your to-do list. Send me a blog that you were going to use so I can link it to the class roster. All right. So let's get ourselves into the first week of class here and talk a little bit about what I'd like you to be working on this week. Here we are. Intro to the course. One thing I really love is this great little picture. Because we all know exactly what this picture is trying to capture. Creativity, this artist tells us, is at the intersection of knowing ways to break traditional thought patterns, but grounding ideas in reality, and, well, there has to be a problem to solve. Isn't that intriguing? And the sweet spot is when you get it right at the center of all three of those. And look what happens if you don't get it right. Boring, ridiculous, boring. So this creative author has a theory of creativity, which I think is really intriguing. And certainly we're going to problematize that today. So let's see. We've done the introductions and welcome. We've done a little bit of the pillars of instructional ideas. We've talked about some key ideas of that we're going to explore in the class by talking a little bit about some of the books we're going to be reading. We haven't really talked about my introduction to digital literacy. And for the folks who are in the Digital Literacy Summer Institute, this will kind of be a very much a refresher. I thought what I would do is share with you a talk I gave to the Rhode Island Association of School Principals a couple days ago, because I think it has a fast and furious set of kind of ways of thinking about this work. So what is digital literacy? We don't really know yet. We are in the process of discovering it. So one thing we know for sure is that it's happening because of the way in which all these devices are changing our relationship to people and ideas. And these different stakeholders are really stepping up to lay out a landscape. The activists are laying out a landscape of digital literacy that's rooted in really the traditional and radical theories of democracy. The librarians are defining digital literacy in relation to an open access world where the world's libraries are at our fingertips. Creative people are staking out their understanding of digital literacy in relation to the different modalities of using language and imagery and interactivity and design and performance as elements of the creative process. And educators, government, and tech business are trying to figure out, well, how to make money from it, how to regulate it, or how to make sure that all students can benefit. So we know for sure that digital literacy is emerging because of our new understanding of changes in the workforce, where the knowledge economy is creating new opportunities for jobs that require digital literacy competencies. And perhaps the best way to define digital literacy right now is simply to say digital literacy is an expanded conceptualization of literacy. Literacy has been expanding for 3,000 years from its original meaning rooted in the oral tradition of rhetoric all the way through as technologies and cultural change expand what it means to share meaning through symbols. So literacy is expanding. It's really about the sharing of meaning through symbols, and now we do that in a whole lot of different ways. Right now the landscape is really fragmented by a lot of terms and jargon and terminology, and some of these terms are terms that we're going to be exploring this semester. Sometimes these terms give us an illusion that we understand each other, and sometimes these terms simply confuse us. Can I get a volunteer, somebody who's watching the class right now and participating live, to take one of these concepts and try to explain it to us in your own words? Is there a word on this chart that you think you can explain? Because not all of us are familiar with all of these terms. Some of these terms are new to us. Is there a term you're familiar with that you think you could explain to somebody else? Who wants to go first?
I'll go ahead.
Thank you.
So technology integration, I'll just pick that one. For me, my understanding of technology integration is purposefully infusing elements of technology into my classroom to get students to understand how they can, I don't know, for me, make a difference. I teach civics, so that's partly where we go with that. I think that a misconception of technology integration for schools, especially building leaders, is putting computers in kids' hands and expecting that they know what to do with it.
Right.
So purposefully instructing students on how to use the technology for good.
Nice. Thanks for that great explanation. Who's got another concept that you feel like you could explain?
I'll go.
Thank you.
So on there it's talking about coding. You're there's with technology, I feel like there's two types of coding that you need to understand. There's the actual coding of language, which is not just a technology, digital skill, but obviously the reading of words and understanding how different pictures will represent different actions. But then there's also the actual computer coding that children can sometimes need to understand, just the basics of, if I click this, it will do this. So you need to be kind of understanding of and literate of the processes that the computer uses. As Amanda said, the concept of just putting a computer in a kid's hand isn't enough. You really need to make sure that they understand the codes behind the actions that they're completing.
Very nice. Thanks for sharing. Who's got it? One more. We'll hear one more definition, a concept that you think you can explain to other people in the room tonight.
I can tackle online reading and numeracies. So, I mean, I look at this as being able to research and consume content in a complicated online environment and understand context and authorship, and kind of piggybacking on the coding angle, like understanding what might be going on behind the scenes to impact how you found that article in the first place, or, you know, what context it lives in online, and understanding that that's going on in addition to just the content.
Woohoo! Very nice. Okay, so all these terms are actually going to kind of swirl around us, and we're probably going to focus on those that are most associated with media production and composition. If there's one area we're going to really dig down deep in and problematize in an important way, it's media production and composition. That's a big theme for this semester, although all of these are going to come into play. Now, many of you are familiar with this model, the model of literacy, media literacy, and digital literacy that I've been developing for many years now. It's really built on the work of Paulo Freire, the famous Brazilian author of Pedagogy of the Oppressed, written in 1970. It posits a view of literacy that's rooted in a 5-step process of access, analysis and evaluation, creation, reflection, and action. Sometimes when people see this model, they think you have to start by accessing, and then you move to analyzing, and then you create, and then you reflect, and then you act. That's how it's often presented, as if it were linear. But actually, a great entry point for us is in this stage, the process of reflection. And so, in a way, this week we're going to start with reflection as a entry place into our journey. Our theme for next week is the creative process, and we're going to begin by reflecting on our identities as creative people. And our first job is to really take some time and remember our identities as creative people and where those identities came from, where they got started from, what were the elements of those creative identities that we established in childhood, developed in adolescence and young adulthood, and now carry with us throughout life. One of the reasons why starting with reflection is so powerful is that it enables us to address the emotional dimensions of encountering ourselves as creative people. So back to the screen share, let's take a look what I'd like you to do for next week. Let's see here. Go back. There we go. All right. So what you'll see on where I am right now, I'm at the intro to the course. I'm moving my way into the non-synchronous activities that I'd like you to do between now and next Tuesday. Using the Titan Pad, I'd like you to introduce yourself to the class by sharing some memories from your childhood, teenage, or young adult years. I'd like you to select at least 2 of these questions for some pre-writing activity to start your memory engines, right? Start your memory engines. If you click on the question, you get to the Titan Pad. The Titan Pad is a simple collaborative tool that lets us write in a collaborative writing environment. Thumbs up if you've used a Titan Pad or an Etherpad before. Thumbs up if you've used a Titan Pad or an Etherpad before. No? Okay, got it. So this is new to all of you. It's like Google Docs, only in some ways better and worse. Right? So, who can go to the early memory and just demonstrate to us how the Titan Pad works by just typing something in there? I see a couple of people are in there. You basically start typing. There you go. There you go. Let me see who else can type in that typing line. We're testing. Good. One of the things that's really cool about the Titan Pad is that each author shows up in a different color. That's cool. And Titan Pad also has this really cool thing called the time slider, right? Which actually I struggle to show this to you when I'm running it in Google Hangouts, but you can try it. You can try it outside of that, and you see it works really cool. It's like a little playback machine. You don't need a login or a password. What I'd like you to do is choose 2 of these questions and put your memory here. My first form of visual, sound, or digital media content that I can remember creating is that my mom told me a story about how I drew a picture of God. I drew a picture of God when I was 3 years old. And my mother thought that was so cool. She never let me forget it, right? That what was it that I was drawing a picture of God? Where did that come from? All right. So if you're not interested in talking about your earliest memories, maybe some of these other questions will stimulate your memories. What's an example of some form of creative expression that you were most proud of when you were growing up? Put your answer here. Or tell us about someone with whom you had a memorable collaboration. What do you remember about the person and the process? This could be any form of collaboration. It doesn't have to involve making media. It has to involve with the person with whom you had a memorable collaboration. Or the 4th one, what's your earliest memory of creating something where you received praise from adults, peers, or other people? Or can you remember creating something that you later felt was not something to be proud of? And then finally, the dream project. What do you remember dreaming about and wishing you could create, but never did? So select at least 2 of these questions and write on the collaborative Titan Pad. Here's what I found will happen. It happens every single time. It happens every single time. You're going to write something down on that Titan Pad, and somebody else is going to see it and go, oh, I remember when. What happens is, even though our memories are really personal and unique, human experience is not so unique. And sometimes the memories that you share will deepen or jog somebody else's memories about a completely different topic. So that's why, when I mean we're using the Titan Pad for pre-writing, I mean we're helping each other out as we walk down memory lane, right? And by sharing our stories, we can actually activate other people's memories. So that's what's powerful. You have to do that for at least 2 of the questions, and then you get to create a short video introduction using the FlipGrid. So Let's see a thumbs up for those of you who have used a FlipGrid. You know if you have. Thumbs up. Have you used a FlipGrid? Oh, you guys are in for a treat. FlipGrid is awesome. You're looking at the FlipGrid now. I am just thrilled to see some people have already introduced us to the FlipGrid. So here you go. Introduce us to the class by sharing a memory in just 60 seconds, reflecting on your childhood or teen experience. Lauren, since you've already started this, can you describe a little bit about how you used the FlipGrid and what did you actually do? Can you tell us, can you talk us through the process?
Well, you have to accept the permissions on your computer first. That was my first mistake because it was not working at first.
So you have to press the allow button to allow FlipGrid to use your webcam and your microphone. And then what?
Then you just talk into the camera. It's really easy. You just talk, and then it tells you how much time you have left because there's a time limit, and then you hit stop, and then you're done.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a quick demo here. You press click. You please carefully read over the terms of agreement about the use of personally identifying information. This software was created by geeks at the University of Minnesota, which is a publicly owned university. So it's a really interesting project. You click the allow button. You put your face in the thing there. You turn on the flash. You smile. You smile. You make a copy. Once you're happy with the picture, you then begin recording. So when I was a little girl and I was 3 years old, my mom was really impressed at a drawing I made. I made a drawing of God. Of course, it was a pretty cool drawing because I represented God as a triangle. For some reason, at the age of 3, God seemed like a triangle that was radiating in all the colors of my
Is anybody else there? Because I've lost Renee.
I've lost her too.
Okay.
I don't hear anything.
Renee.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we lost her.
Yeah. I actually crashed once before this and I had to come back on.
Alrighty.
This is a real cliffhanger.
I know. What happened? We could finish the story for her. Let's see. Stop. All right.
Is that your cat?
Yes. She's chewing on my cables. I don't know if you can see this, but this is how we have our cables wrapped.
Oh, yeah.
This cable's not wrapped, and this is what she's chewing on.
Oh, goodness.
I love this thing. Renee.
What was she, Karen, what was she talking about before FlipGrid? Did I miss anything, or is it all on the website?
She was talking about Titan Pad.
Okay. So that's, yeah.
I think she's back. Renee?
The psychologist of the 20th century.
Oh.
But because I couldn't photocopy it, I found a really cool earlier version of it. You guys aren't going to even believe this, but check
Renee,
this out.
We lost you. We lost you at the Triangle of God.
You lost me at Triangle of God.
All of us did. You've been gone for a while.
And now are you back? And now am I back?
You're back.
Oh, good show.
But whatever you said in between, we don't know.
Oh, gosh. So between Triangle of God and now I'm gone? Okay, so let me share my screencast with you. Let me share my screen with you.
Or we can do that ourselves, too. But
yeah, hold on just a sec here. So I'm walking through the first page of the, hold on, I got to get rid of, maybe let me get rid of the FlipGrid. That maybe is just what's too many things going on the page here. Okay, there we go. Oh, I see what you mean. I do see what you mean. Okay, hold on here. Okay, there we go. What I'm doing is I'm talking a little bit about the readings that I'd like you to do for next week. After you do your FlipGrid, I want to make sure that you know what you need to read and know why you need to read it. So back to the home page, back to the intro to the course for week 1. Scroll down to the bottom. After you've done your FlipGrid, you can click here if you have questions that you need answers to. The first thing I want you to read is one of the articles by Jerome Bruner. If you're near a library, you can go get the 1979 version of it. It was published in a book called On Knowing, Essays for the Left Hand. Jerome Bruner is perhaps the most famous cognitive psychologist of the 20th century. He's going to be 100 years old this year, 2015, and he was leading the field in the 1960s, and especially around the innovative use of technology in education. But because of the storm, I couldn't get out to make a digital version of this article, so I found an earlier version of this from 1961, and take a look at it, you guys. It's the typescript. You younger students might not even recognize. Back in the day, before there were computers that you used for word processing, we used a piece of technology called a typewriter. And this is the manuscript from 1962.
That's so funny.
Right? So Jerome Bruner was trying to make a connection between the creative process that children experience in growing up and the creative process of being a multimedia author. And you're going to see him wrestle around with those ideas in this piece. It's really pretty amazing. The next thing I want you to read is the 2 chapters from the Scott McCloud book, the chapter called Show and Tell and the chapter called The 6 Steps. And then finally, I'd like you to read this short chapter from David Gauntlet. This is a brand new book that's just out, but he's very nicely made the introduction chapter open to us. David Gauntlet is a British media educator, and he's really about the social meaning of creativity, from do-it-yourself and knitting to YouTube and Web 2.0. So he's a really interesting character. So those 3 articles, and then take a look at your first leap, right? And your first leap is pretty simple, right? If you click on that leap, you'll see what I'd like you to do is compose a short memoir that takes us back to some vivid experience as a young person in composing with print, visual, sound, and digital media. There's a link there if you want to learn more about writing a memoir. You're going to post this memoir to your blog and tweet the link. So all the activities we're doing this week are designed to cultivate your reflective thinking about yourself as a creative individual. And you're going to be representing that knowledge in different ways, right? On the Titan Pad, on the FlipGrid as a video comment, and on your blog as a short memoir. So we're going to start thinking about the creative process by reflecting back on our own childhoods as we built with Tinker Toys, as we made transportation vehicles out of refrigerator boxes, as we put on plays in our barn, or whatever you did. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. All right, well, welcome to this class. What questions do we have before I let you go at 8:01, right on time? What questions do you have? All right, so our typical routine for our Google Hangouts is that we will all wave goodbye to each other, and then we'll see you a week from today. The royal wave, give the royal wave goodbye, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. Thanks for joining me. I'm Renee Hobbs. This is EDC 534, Seminar in Digital Authorship at the University of Rhode Island. Thanks again for joining us. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.